And if you're just joining us on the Law and Crime Network, I took over for your morning host, Jesse Weber. Rachel Stockman here, along with guest Adam Gana, who is on the line via Skype. We've just been listening to some witnesses in the Todd Kendhammer trial out of Wisconsin. David Adams, who's the victim's brother, is on the stand. It looks like they're getting some jury questions. They may be back. Let's see if we can take a listen.
Yeah.
Be 626.
May I have to do that? Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Jones?
No, Your Honor.
And you can step down then. Okay. We'll take
There you
a
go.
short break here, and then also then determine when we'll do lunch, since we started a little late. You step out, don't talk to anybody about the case. We'll take approximately a 15-minute break, give you an idea.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Law and Crime Network. Jesse Weber left for this morning. I'm your host for this afternoon. I'm Rachel Stockman alongside Adam Gana, who is on the phone via Skype. Adam, are you there?
Good morning, Rachel. How are you?
Great.
Good afternoon now.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us here. We had a very big day yesterday in the Todd Kendhammer trial, the trial we've been following out of Wisconsin. We had the defendant himself take the stand. And today we've had several witnesses who were family and friends with the victim and the couple talking about how the couple, these are defense witnesses of course, had a great relationship and didn't have any marital problems, etc., etc. But to me, and what I think the jurors are going to hinge their entire case perhaps on, or at least weigh very heavily, is Todd Kendhammer's testimony yesterday. Did you get a chance to listen to some of it and tell me what you think in terms of how he did?
You know, I think he did as good as he could have done. It's rare that I say this, but in this particular case, I think that he had to testify. Without his testimony, I think he was absolutely going to prison. I think he did as good as he could have done. My biggest problem with his testimony is, where is the truck that the pipe came from? If he's claiming that there was this freak accident, I want to know where that truck is. And if I'm on the jury, that's the number one thing that's lingering in my mind from that testimony. Where did that pipe come from?
Adam, I want to put you on hold just for a second. It looks like we have some more action in the Kendhammer trial. Let's go back.
If that works, then we'll do that. Okay. Anything else either side want to put on the record before our break?
No, Your Honor. No, sir.
Okay. Be in recess.
Those in a different color. Yeah, because
And welcome back, everybody, to the Law and Crime Networks. It looks like the Todd Kendhammer trial, the trial we've been following here, gavel to gavel out of Wisconsin, is taking a brief break. We will continue, of course, watching for live testimony and take you there when we can. In the meantime, I have Adam Gana, an attorney, on the line via Skype. Adam, thanks so much for bringing us your insights. We were talking a little bit before we jump back into live testimony about Todd Kendhammer's testimony specifically. And of course, if you're just joining us here, Mr. Kendhammer is charged with murdering his wife by beating her really brutally, according to prosecutors. But of course, he contends this was all a freak accident, that a pipe went flying off a car, hit his wife. He tried to stop it by putting his hands up against the window. He testified to all of this yesterday. What did you make of what he said?
You know, I thought it, like I said earlier, I thought it came off as good as he could come off. The lingering question for the jury is going to be as follows. Where did the pipe come from? I want to know, and the jury wants to know, where that pipe came from. He said it came off a flatbed truck. Where's the flatbed truck?
And that's one of the questions we really didn't get an answer, because no one saw this alleged vehicle. What do you also make up about some of his stories and the fact that he changed how this all unraveled a couple of times? Do you think that will be troubling for jurors, or perhaps?
You know, when you're inconsistent, there's always some trouble for a jury, because they want to see consistency, because consistency usually means truthfulness. But a defense attorney, a good defense attorney, can explain that pretty simply. The man just lost his wife when he was originally questioned by the police, and so sometimes your story isn't always exactly the same. He's going through a potential trauma, and that could explain why the story was inconsistent. But to me, it just keeps coming back to the pipe. I want to know where the pipe came. I want to know where the pipe came from.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Law and Crime Network. I want to apologize. We had a few technical difficulties, but we are back. And the good news is that you didn't miss any live programming. Both of the trials that we are following here on the Law and Crime Network, the Todd Kendhammer trial and the one out of Tennessee, are both on breaks at the moment. So you've missed no live testimony. And of course, when either one of those trials goes back live into session, we will bring you there. Adam Gana, a defense attorney, is on the line with me, and we were talking a bit about that Kendhammer case. Again, if you're just joining us, this is the case out of Wisconsin. We've been following gavel to gavel about the man, the husband, accused of killing his wife and basically staging what he calls is a freak accident, what prosecutors are calling murder. And Adam, what do you make of this? I mean, we're nearing the end of this case. It's probably going to go to the jurors in the next day or two. What do you think are going to be the sticking points if you were the defense here?
I think that the sticking point is going to be the original location of the piping. I mean, pipes don't just fly off of flatbeds and fall into car windshields without the flatbed truck, without knowing where the flatbed truck was or where it was going, or it's stopping in some way. To me, that's going to be the principal fact at issue here. But he does seem to have had a loving relationship with his wife. And there is a lot of testimony that seems to suggest that the relationship was just fine. You know, weighing those two things, remember it's the prosecutor that has the burden of proving beyond a reasonable doubt that this man killed his wife. And his story, while somewhat plausible, I keep going back to what happened and where the pipe came from. Where did it originate from? That's what I just keep coming back to, and it keeps irking me, which is why I think he'll be convicted.
Here's the other thing about this case that's just so weird. As I was reviewing some of the testimony last night and this morning, it just occurred to me, just how strange is it that this guy was actually in the business at one point of fixing windshields, and he happens to have this. And he had originally claimed to police that he was going to fix a windshield, meet up with someone to fix a windshield, and here it is, this tragic accident involving a windshield. I mean, the whole thing is just like, how could that either this guy is just like the most unlucky, coincidental person ever, or like something's just not right with this story.
Rachel, that is a great point. I mean, you know, the guy is in the windshield business and his wife dies because a pipe flies through a windshield. It seems very circumspect, if you ask me. And so, you know, that coupled with the original location of the piping, I just don't know if the defense has enough to get over or create a reasonable doubt. I just don't know if they have it.
And you know,
this will be a close one, though, I'll tell you that much.
It will be a close one. And I think that the defense took a really, really big risk putting Todd Kendhammer on the stand. We had one defense attorney on yesterday who was absolutely livid that he did this, saying, you know, up until this point before Todd got on the stand, he had a pretty good case, the defense did, in terms of creating some kind of reasonable doubt. Once you put the defendant on the stand, if the jurors collectively decide that they don't believe him, that he has too many inconsistencies in the story, and let me tell you, I think the prosecution did a bang-up job. I don't know, did you get a chance to watch any of the cross-examination from yesterday when the prosecutor went at this guy?
Sure. It was really good. I mean, the prosecution did a great job. I think Mr. Kendhammer stood up as much as he could under the heat of that cross-examination, but that cross-examination was a really, really good one.
Yeah, and he got him where he just couldn't explain some certain things. Like he couldn't explain the fact that the cell phone was in the back of the car. He really couldn't explain why they were going a certain direction when they would have normally been going another direction. It looks like in that case, Adam, the court is starting to gather. Maybe we can just take a live shot so our viewers can see what's going on in court. It hasn't started yet, the testimony there, but the defendant looks like he's gone back into the courtroom. They were just taking a 15 minute break. They started a little bit late this morning, around 10:30 Eastern time. So I think this case is probably going to wrap up today. And it looks like the state is gonna have two pretty short rebuttal witnesses, and then we're gonna go into jury instructions, and I expect to see closings tomorrow. Adam, it looks like things have picked back up at the trial, so I'm gonna cut you loose, but I wanna thank you, as always, for joining us here on our program. We certainly appreciate it.
Thank you, Rachel. Great to be here.
Thanks again, Adam.